Welcome to another edition of Hat Talks with Arch, and thank you for listening in to episode 4, Writing Right, in response to which a listener from Goa, Captain Karnad, shared information that if one does not get a response from any government department, either center or state, within a reasonable time, they should lodge a complaint on the website pgportal.gov.in, which is a public grievance and monitoring portal that is apparently overseen by the Prime Minister's office. He says from personal experience that it works like magic, and so I felt that I should share that with listeners. I'll repeat the website, which is pgportal.gov.in. I have also been requested by a few to share a few more of my experiences as a consumer activist. So here goes one in continuation of Writing Right. This one is called Of Ice Cream, Chocolates, a Cardio, and a Sandwich. Story 1. Ice Cream and Hindustan Lever. In 1997, while in Bangalore, we were planning to entertain some friends one evening, and for dessert, two 1-liter bricks of Quality World's vanilla ice cream were purchased. While transferring them to the freezer, a weight difference was felt between the two bricks. Each brick in a sealed condition was placed on the kitchen scale individually and the weight recorded by photograph. There was a difference of around 150 to 200 odd grams between the two identical packages. The phone was picked up and a senior executive at HLL, the makers of ice cream, was dialed. In a couple of hours, two smart young MBA types, complete with their necks tied, arrived to collect and replace the two bricks. Now, ice cream bricks at the time was sold on volume and not on weight. However, we pointed out that there was something wrong with the aeration and filling process of the ice cream at the factory, as there should be some correlation of weight to volume based on the density of the product. The MBAs, a bit perplexed, tie and all, at the science proffered, very quickly, in total management style, put the family at ease, requested us to delete the photographs taken, and quickly made a new offer of 4 bricks for the 2 in order to compensate. We quickly accepted. The dinner that evening, however, had ice cream as main course, and it was indeed a sweet ending to the day. Lesson. By being aware and conscious, the consumer can help companies discover inherent faults in processes. Story 2. Chocolates and Gold Ken. Sometime in 2012, when returning to India from an overseas trip, I paused at the local duty-free store in Chennai, where I chanced upon a box of Jack Daniel's liquor chocolates. Imagining the feel of the warm liquor oozing when I bit into the chocolate bowl after a meal, I quickly added it to my shopping basket. All was good till a few days later when I bit into 1, then 2, and 3 of them, only to discover no liquor at all. Had it evaporated? But I paid for liquor chocolates. So back to research. Soon I was shooting mails to Goldken Chocolates in Switzerland, narrating my disappointment. I was not surprised to get a response that was both polite and apologetic for my experiences, while conceding that they had received similar feedback previously on a few occasions from the tropics. Unfortunately, as they could not send me a replacement chocolate hamper via post as these were dutiable, a few weeks later I received a parcel with several Goldken corporate gifts that included a nice iPad cover. On a lighter note, I'm not sure if they had a tie-up with Apple, but some months later I acquired an iPad only so I could use the cover. Lesson: I don't purchase liquor chocolates in India anymore. But remember, consumers are heard, and if you write and act right. Story 3. Car freshener and Bayer. Bayer is an old established German multinational pharma company, so in 2003, when I saw a car freshener on the market manufactured by Bayer, I didn't think twice and ordered a couple, hoping they would last longer than the ones we were buying every month. The car freshener from Bayer Bayer was aptly called Bay Fresh Apple, and it was a cylindrical container of about 3 inches in height with a 3-inch dia. It was mounted on the car dashboard one evening, and we decided that the fragrance was agreeable. Now, the weather in India is as it is, and then in Chennai, it is different grades of hot throughout the year. Several days later, I observed a colorful mushroom beginning to emerge from the inside of the cylinder on my dashboard, and by midday, the top cover of the freshener had come off like a volcanic eruption. I discovered that the colored aromatic gel of the freshener was mounted on an unanchored disc placed within and at the bottom of the cylinder. Obviously, with the heat inside a parked car in Chennai, the air in the annular space between the disc and the base had expanded, and with the lack of a vent, the disc was like a piston being pushed up. Photographs at different stages of eruption were captured, sent with a mail to the address available on the product, as well as one copied to Bayer in Germany, wherein a solution was also suggested of having a tiny vent on the bottom of the container. In a few days, phone calls were received, and an executive arrived to meet, collect the defective product, and to offer replacements. He checked the offensive product and offered me 2 new pieces to replace the ones he was taking back for research. I refused. As I mentioned, we had also offered solutions, and that our inputs didn't come free. He quickly emptied the bag of the 6 pieces he had within and handed them over, which we accepted. Very soon, the product was no longer available on the market. Lesson: reporting right any faulty products will generally result positively. The final story: the jungly sandwich and indigo. It was an afternoon flight from Madurai to Chennai in 2017, and I was flying Indigo. By mid afternoon, the hunger pangs were acting up, so as the aircraft took off and the in flight service began, I ordered and paid for a jungly sandwich. I imagined a moist, soft, indulgent sandwich, but instead unwrapped and hungrily bit into a dry, stale, and disappointing one, which was long past its prime. When the stewardess was informed, she offered a replacement from the same batch, which I obviously refused. By this time, several other passengers listening in murmured their agreement to my observations. However, they had just swallowed both their sandwiches and their right to protest. I thus asked for a refund, but was told it was not possible. Feeling dissatisfied and bread changed, I photographed the dry and stale bitten product, drafted an email with the photos attached to customer service, and had it primed to send once I had internet access on landing. The diversion of attention by the jungly took care of my hunger pangs. I did retain the bitten sandwich in its original packing, lest it was needed as evidence and for carbon dating. A few days later, I received a standard, what we would call today a bottish response, with an apology and offering me a coupon for a replacement sandwich on Indigo when I flew next. I reply asking, as is oft repeated in law, which sane person who'd once bitten the jungly would not be twice shy and refuse the offer, asking for a full refund of Rs 275 and an apology instead, quoting misrepresentation and using other legalese. They went silent. I, however, didn't. And to cut the story short, after many more mails to different addresses, I finally received a nice, courteous mail from one responsible Mr. Mohit Arora, who probably headed the customer service department at the time and valued his company's reputation. He apologized and, keen to close the issue, offered me a food coupon for Rs 1500 to be used on Indigo within 1 or 2 months. I countered, saying I'd lost faith in the food supplied on Indigo, and the fact that the coupon had a validity meant that I would be coerced into buying a ticket only to redeem food. It could have got me 5.5 junglis, of course. He gave in to my argument and instead arranged for the coupon to be used towards a flight ticket and valid for 6 months, which I deemed fair. Tickets were less pricey 8 years ago, So I immediately accepted the offer and bought a ticket to send my spouse to where she wanted to go, resulting in encashing food for flight. Lessons from all the above. The stories narrated involve two international companies and two Indian giants. And while the issues raised may seem too small to worry about, that is exactly what an unscrupulous seller is counting on, so they get away with substandard service or products. Of course, as the stories also reflect, many companies appreciate the time taken by a consumer to offer feedback and correct themselves. Look out for more stories on consumer activism in later episodes. Finally, speak right and act. Don't let them get away, for we can make a difference. Till the next time, happy listening and look out for more from Hat Talks with Ach. And don't forget to give a thumbs up, share, and subscribe. Goodbye.